Hello, and welcome to All About the U.S. In an earlier video, we talked about free food as a benefit to certain people in the U.S. And today we will be talking about other benefits from the U.S. government. And we will talk about Social Security, supplemental security income, health care, and particularly Obamacare, Medicare, Medicaid, and unemployment benefits here in the US. So Social Security is a big deal, and it first started in the US in 1935. Before that, from 1776 all the way to 1935, there was not Social Security. And the purpose that the US government came out with Social Security was to provide a financial foundation for low and middle income retired workers. So when you're working all your life and you have some money, now you are retired. A lot of the lower income earning people and some middle income earning people would not have enough money to live after they retired. And another purpose of Social Security was to protect workers in the event of a long-term disability. So maybe you're working and you're only 35 or 40 years old, but you have an accident and it makes it so you cannot work anymore. So the government wants to help you out. Also, to provide financial protection to the survivors or the dependents of a deceased worker. So you're the working person in a family and you die, your children, your spouse, they can have some money. So these were the purposes of Social Security. And the way it works is during the time you are working in the US, a percent of your earnings are taxed. They're subtracted from your pay. And this is to pay for Social Security and Medicare. So the current tax rate for Social Security is 6.2% from the employer and 6.2% of your wages deducted from you. So there's a total of however much money you're making, let's say weekly, 12.4% of that goes into your Social Security account. 6.2, half of it is paid by your employer, and 6.2% is paid by you, taking out of your earnings. And the current rate for Medicare is 1.45%. Again, your earnings for, let's say, the week, 1.45% of that is deducted from your pay and goes into your Medicare. And 1.45 of your pay also goes into your Medicare from your employer. So it's a total of, from your pay, 7.65%. So you, the worker, pay into this program called Social Security, and your employer also pays into it for you. For example, you have a job in the US and you are paid $16 an hour. A typical or normal work week is 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, usually Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, equals 40 hours. So $16 an hour times 40 hours equals $640 is your weekly pay. There's 52 weeks in a year times $640 each week. So your annual salary, your annual pay for your work would be $33,260. Normally you work 50 weeks and your employer gives you 2 weeks off vacation time for free. In other words, they pay you for those 2 weeks. So you earn $33,260, but you are taxed 6.2% of your earnings for Social Security. So this means you pay into your Social Security now while you are working and receive money later when you are 65 years old. So you earn $33,280 and 6.2% was taxed, was taken away from your pay. So that's $2,063. So let's look at this on a weekly basis. You earn or paid $640 a week. You pay from this $640, 6.2% for Social Security equals $39.68. Therefore, your net or take-home pay is $600.32, not $640. Now, there are other taxes taken out as well, but we'll talk about that later. So each week, $39.68 is taken away from your pay times 52 weeks equals $2,063 each year is taken away from your pay. So what happens to this $2,063? Well, it goes into your Social Security benefits when the U.S. government returns the money to you with payments to you each month, beginning typically when you are 65 years old. Now, you can choose to not receive your Social Security until you're 66 or 67, 68, all the way up to age 71, and then you must take it. And each year you wait to receive your money, the amount you will receive each month increases. So some people say, well, I'm 65, I don't really need it right now. I'll wait until I'm 68. And then each month you'll get more money than you would if you started when you were 65. There's a real debate about which way is better. Okay, so let us consider that you work 30 years. For example, age 35 to 65. And each year you pay $2,063 into your Social Security, equals $61,890. So over the 30 years, this is how much money was taken out of your pay you did not take home. $61,890. Now you are age 65 and begin to receive back your Social Security from the U.S. government. You receive each month your Social Security. It may come as a check in the postal mail, or it can be directly deposited into your bank account. As for 2024, the expected average monthly Social Security check, how much you would receive each month, will be $1,907. So each month, the average Social Security payment is $1,907. And you receive this $1,907, your Social Security, you receive until you die. Using this example, you would receive $1,907 each month, equal to $22,884 a year that the government is now giving to you. Remember, you receive this money each year until you die. So, for example, if you live to age 85 and start receiving your Social Security when you are 65, for 20 years, you'll receive $1,907 each month. That's $22,884 a year times 20 years. You would have gotten from the government $457,680. So you see, this is how it works. You would have contributed or paid into your Social Security $61,890. And if you lived 20 years from when you started to receive your Social Security, you would have gotten back $457,680. So you see, this is how Social Security is considered a benefit to you. Now, there are variations. The amount of Social Security you receive each month is based on how much money you earned over your highest period while you were working. So depending on your work, you may receive a little more or a little less than this $1,907. Also, and this is good to know, the amount that you are receiving for your Social Security increases automatically each year. So that $1,907 in 2024 will be more than that each month in 2025 without your having to do anything. And this is called the cost of living adjustment, or COLA, C-O-L-A. And the 2024 cost of living adjustment, or COLA, is set for a 3.2% increase. So $1,907 times 103.2% is going to pay you more than $1,907. And this 3.2% that is considered the cost of living increase to Social Security for 2024 marks the smallest increase in 3 years. And that's because COLA is based on the inflation rate. So the idea is cost of living increases over time, meaning $10 in 1950 was worth a lot more money, a lot more value. You could buy more things with $10 in 1950 than you can now. So the government gives you this increase each year on your Social Security. In 2022, when inflation was very high in the U.S., President Biden gave an 8% increase to people's Social Security. But anyhow, that's how Social Security works. You pay in while you're working, and then you start to receive money back, plus more when you are retiring. Now, however, as I said, you are also taxed for Medicare. And Social Security and Medicare go hand in hand. They work together. So let's explain. From your $640 a week pay, already $39.68 is taken out for Social Security. An additional 1.45% is taken out for your Medicare. The same as Social Security. You pay into Medicare while you are working, and you get the benefit when you are 65 years of age. 65 years of age. So what is Medicare, and why am I paying into that? Well, Medicare is a government health insurance, okay? And we'll talk a little more about how that works and what that is. But let's say, so this 1.45% of $640 is $9.28. Then the total taken away from, we say deducted, taken out of your pay is $39.68 for Social Security and $9.28 for Medicare equals $48.96. So your $640 weekly pay leaves you with $591.04 as your actual net, we like to say, take-home pay. So again, what happens to this $9.28 each week equaling $482.56 each year. Well, as I was saying, it pays for your Medicare. So let's talk some more. What is Medicare? Medicare is the U.S. government health insurance program for people who are 65 years of age or older. It's also for certain younger people with disabilities. Also for people with end-stage renal disease. This is permanent kidney failure requiring dialysis or a transplant. So the thing is that health care, doctor visits, examinations, operations, and all medical care and medications, for example, are not free in the U.S. and they can be costly. So the idea of Medicare is while you are working, perhaps you can pay for health care, but as you are retired, 65 and older, that's going to be difficult. So the government came up with a program to help fix that. So let's talk about a healthy family of 3 people. This is to talk about normal healthcare costs. With no particular health issues, they can just spend easily $800 or $1,000 a year, and this does not include any situation that is more serious. So just going to the doctors, maybe somebody is sick, maybe you want to have a physical, get an examination each year. This can cost a family of 3 $800,000, $900,000 a year, and doesn't include anything serious happening. You may need a hospital visit or an x-ray or a CAT scan or an MRI examination. An operation or less serious procedure can cost minimally $20,000 or $30,000, and with post-operation treatment, your cost could be $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 and more. So, health insurance, this is where you pay a monthly fee called a premium, allows for you to pay only a small portion of your health care costs, and the insurance you have pays the significantly large portion. So that's what Medicare does. It provides for you health insurance. Now, health insurance normally in itself is costly. The typical non-elderly family in the U.S. spends over $8,000 a year, or 11% of their income, on health care. But this can vary substantially by income, how much money you're making, a type of insurance, and your health status, just how healthy you are or not. Health insurance for our exampled family of 3 can cost $600, $700, $800 a month or more. So, right, without any health insurance and nobody having anything serious wrong with them in a family of 3 can cost about $800 to $1,000 a year just for doctor visits and checkups and things. But if something more serious is needed, and this requires CAT scans, MRIs, x-rays, blood tests, doctor visits, hospitalization and operation, those costs can be $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 even, and more. So health insurance provides for that, all that extra money. And it costs, though, $600, $700, $800 or more each month to pay for your health insurance. So whereas the expectation is that while you or your spouse or both are working, you can pay health insurance yourselves, this $600, $700 a month. Or your employer pays for your health insurance, or perhaps your employer pays half of the health insurance and you pay the other half. The U.S. government considers that when you are older and not working, you may or will not be able to pay for your health insurance. So that's why they come up with Medicare. Also, you should know, for those people who cannot pay for health insurance themselves, this is while they are working, the U.S. government offers discounted health insurance, which can also sometimes be free, through the Affordable Care Act, which we commonly call Obamacare. You can receive substantial discounts, and like I say, even in some cases free, health insurance, depending on your income. So as part of Social Security benefits, starting at the earliest age of 65, you also receive health insurance benefits from Medicare. So the idea of Social Security and Medicare is you will have money for your basic needs to live. This is the Social Security. And to take care of your health, you would have health insurance through Medicare. Again, like Social Security, you pay into Medicare. At that $16 an hour salary, you are paying $482.56 a year. You receive Medicare when you're 65. So let's say you're paying that $482.56 each year, and you do this for 30 more years. Then we take 30 years times $482.56. So you paid into your Medicare $14,476. Now, it's time to get your Medicare, right? So even though you paid into Medicare okay, let me pause. Okay, so before we talk about, even though you pay into Medicare, it is not completely free later on. Let's talk about Medicare itself, because Medicare can be a little bit complicated. There are different parts to Medicare, and to give you a brief overview here, let me say that Medicare has a Part A, and this is hospital insurance. Part A covers inpatient hospital stays, care in a skilled nursing facility, hospice care, and some home health care. So it's all part of the Medicare that you receive, but you do have some choices. So Medicare Part A covers when you go into the hospital. Part B covers a medical insurance. So this is going to the doctor visits, maybe x-rays, CAT scans, MRIs. And Part B covers the doctor services, outpatient care, medical supplies, and preventive services. Then there's Medicare Part D, and this pays this is a benefit for your prescriptions, for the medications that you will need. Now, Medicare Part C, this is health insurance plans paid by your Medicare benefit, but are with private non-U.S. government health insurance companies. Some people say these can be better. Some people say it's pretty much the same. But there's Medicare broken down into Part A, Part B, Part D, and what Part C is. Now, here's the thing. Even though that you paid into Medicare while you were working, still it is not completely free when you receive it. Currently, you will pay in 2024 $174 each month for Medicare. and it's paid by being deducted from your Social Security payment. From that $1,907, $1,907 is what you would end up with, but the $174 is taken out from what your Social Security would have been. Would have been $1,907 plus $174. So they take that $174 out each month. And you are now age 65 and you're no longer working. So there's no employer paying for your health insurance. So currently, health insurance costs about $600 a month for a largely basic plan, and up to $1,000 a month for a bigger plan, and will cost much, much more when you are age 65, likely about $1,200 a month. So $1,200 a month times 12 months in a year is $14,440 a year would be the cost to pay for health insurance. So using that same 20 years we did with Social Security. So you start receiving Medicare at age 65, you live to be 85 years old. So that would have been 20 years of paying $14,400 a year for health insurance, equaling $288,000. So the U.S. government considers that really the difference between the $14,476 that you paid into Medicare and the cost for the government now from age 65 to 85 to pay for your medical insurance being $288,000, that's too great for the government to give to the millions and millions of people who are receiving Medicare. So each month they take some money from your Social Security to help offset that difference. So each month that you are receiving your Social Security check, from that check, the government will take away $174. So using the example, and I was trying to break it down before, meaning your Social Security check as exampled at $1,907 will actually be $1,733. And like Social Security, you have your Medicare until you die. So there is also Medicaid. And Medicaid is a federal and state combined insurance program that provides free or low-cost health coverage to some low-income people, families and children, pregnant women, the elderly, and people with disabilities. Medicaid tends to cover most basic health care expenses, such as a doctor's visit, surgeries, and even emergency room visits. So Medicaid is really for the very, very poor people, and they can get it at any time if they qualify. And this gives them access to health care and doesn't cost them next to nothing. But you have to be really on the low end of the poverty guidelines. And each state has its own Medicaid. That's part of the federal government benefits, but administered and regulated by each state. So let's talk about this. Non-citizens living in the United States may be eligible for Social Security if they are permanent legal residents, have visas that allow them to work in the United States, or were allowed in the country under the family unity or immediate relative provisions of U.S. immigration law. Non-citizens living abroad may qualify for Social Security if they worked at some point in the United States and accrued sufficient Social Security credits. So in 2024, $1,730 in earnings equals 1 credit. You earned 4 credits after making $6,920 for the year. It doesn't really matter how long it takes you to earn the credits, but you want to get to where you've earned 40 credits. And that means that most people would qualify for Social Security after working 10 years. So you can do that as a U.S. citizen. You can do it as a permanent resident. You can do it as a non-citizen but living abroad. A non-citizen who married American living abroad and who meets the normal criteria for spousal or survivor benefits may be eligible for these benefits according to certain qualifications. So if you're a qualified non-citizen, you're also generally eligible for Medicaid, qualifying on that low income, very, very low income level. And the term qualified non-citizen includes lawful permanent residents. These are the green card holders. Asylees, you came here granted asylum. Refugees, paroled into the U.S. for at least 1 year. You came in as a battered citizen, victim of trafficking. You're a recognized member of an Indian tribe. And I will be providing links to show you more about the qualifications for Social Security, a little more about Medicare, and also about Medicaid. There is also supplemental security income as a benefit in the United States. And simply, supplemental security income is a federal program that provides additional income for older adults and people with disabilities that have little or no income. And then there's also, and this will be our last topic today, unemployment insurance. Unemployment insurance, also called unemployment benefits, is a type of state-provided insurance that pays monies to individuals on a weekly basis when they lose their job and meet certain eligibility requirements. So basically, you're working, and your company goes out of business, or your company lays you off. So you are now not working, and it's not your fault. You are not fired, okay? So you're laid off, and after a certain time, couple of weeks, you've been looking for a job and you can't get one. So you can apply in the state where you live for unemployment unemployment benefits. And what that is, a certain percentage of what you were paid at your job, you will receive now each week in an unemployment benefit check from the government. And it's usually limited to, depending on the state, as little as $125 a week, or you might receive $300 or $400 a week, depending on the state in which you live. So that primarily is all that there is about this list of benefits. And it's my pleasure always to share them with you. I hope you will take advantage of the links that I will be providing in the About section. And if you have any questions, please put them in the comments, and I'm pleased to answer them. So I hope that's some helpful information for you, and I'll see you soon. Bye now.